Hi, Judy. I feel like elf. All right, guess what time it is? It's time for the weekly review, right, Judy? Oh, individual tables. It wasn't like me just going, come on, everyone's playing. I've been standing in the back seat back there, just having fun with this little dog. Good morning, everyone, and happy Easter. What an exciting day today it is. It's Victory Sunday. Where Jesus is risen from the grave. Now, before we go on to my message, I have a couple announcements, but while I give those announcements, we're going to go mobile. We're moving.
I like to move it, move it. Yeah, I like to move it. I like to move it, move it.
That's right. We're going out to my workshop. And while we go to the workshop, I need to be wearing my hat, of course, because my hat is manly and it makes me feel like a man when in the workshop. Hi, buddy. You just get up from sleeping? Yeah. Oh, he just woke up. So, want to say hi? Say hi to the camera. Hello. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Yeah. He is so stinking cute. All right. Going to the workshop. And so today, number one is this. Marco Polo. If you're not on Marco Polo, you should get Marco Polo. It's an app on your phone. When the whole quarantine thing's over, we'll delete Marco Polo. But for now, it's the way we're staying connected. And we're having fun competitions and challenges and awards. Amazing awards. Number two is this. Emailing. If you want to get on my email list, please subscribe below. And we can get you on that list to keep you updated on what's going on in youth ministry. I feel like this is like home to me. I love my shop. You walk in here, you got the hat on. Oh, hold on. Let me go through my routine. Let me put you up somewhere. Here, hold this. Hold that. I got a pencil. Every time you come in the shop, tip up into the hat right like that. And then tape measure. It's always out. Put that on the hip. Now, I am shop worthy. I can be in my shop and not feel like I'm out of place because I have all my equipment on. Hat, pencil, tape measure. That's all it takes. You know, if it wasn't for my dad, I don't think I would have ever got into building and construction stuff and working with wood. My dad, I remember him watching me when I was a baby, probably 4 or 5 years old, going to the job site with him on Saturdays, and he'd put me on the ground, he'd give me a hammer, and he'd say, see these nails in this piece of wood? I want you to nail those nails into the wood and just put it right into the floor. And so I'd be hammering away until those nail heads would be so deep into the wood. And then I remember, of course, he'd come over with a crowbar or a flat bar after and say, hey, I need you to rip all those nails out. And I'd have to hit it under the wood and pry it off because it wasn't supposed to be there. It was in the middle of the floor, in the middle of the house. But it kept me occupied. And then when I got bored there, I went outside and played in the sand around the foundation because it's a brand new home, sand everywhere. You make sand castles. It was just so much fun growing up around a job site like that. And even today now, I'm in my shop and I have a project I'm doing and I would ask my dad for ideas and wisdom, like, how do I do this? Or, hey, what do you think of this? And he'd give me advice. And then I thought about last week, how this story might have gone better last week, but I thought, like, you know, someday I'm not going to have my dad. He won't be around to answer my questions, and I'm going to have to make decisions on my own that might affect my outcome in either the project that I'm doing, or maybe it's a wrong decision or a bad decision. And I thought, I wonder how the disciples felt when Jesus died. I wonder how they were like in awe of, how do I make right decisions now? Do I give up on what I'm doing? Do I just stop living the way I was? Or do I continue living the way that, of course, Jesus at the time told them to live? I remember when I would make a mistake when I was building with my dad, and he would come up to me and he wouldn't like reprimand me or anything. He would actually say, okay, well, how can we fix it? And he'd show me the way to fix it. And then we'd move on. And it would be a lesson that I would learn that when making mistakes, you got to go back and take care of them. And I don't know, I feel like if I had to pick someone to learn from, when I make a mistake, the last thing I want is someone just to sympathize with me and be like, well, better luck next time, and then walk away. I would hope that someone, yes, they would sympathize, but then they would say, let me help you. Let me walk you through this process again. And here's where it brings me to our main point for today. The Jesus who lives in you. See, my dad was always there when I made when I had a problem or a difficult time where I had him to help me fix it. Well, Jesus, he didn't just come back to life and then to leave us again, to go to be with his Father in heaven. He actually left his spirit with us. Here's what's so amazing about Jesus' resurrection. He defeated death. There's nothing we can do in our power. And with everything in us, we can't make the sins that we've done right again. But with God's power and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we can have our sins forgiven. Isn't that amazing? What I would love for you to do is read in the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 44, all the way to chapter 24, verse 8. Now, it's the whole story. It's kind of a nutshell, though. It's only going to take you like 3 or 4 minutes to read. It's from Jesus' death, burial, and then resurrection. And it's just, as you're reading it, listen to what's happening and just how amazing God is, how much he loves you so very much that he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross. And then, when he rose from the grave, read the very last part where the angel told the women that were at the tomb looking for Jesus, and they were like, why are you looking for the living among the dead?
The King has returned. The prophecies fulfilled. The years of longing are over. The King has returned. And now all will be made right, amidst shouts of praise and tears of joy, the pleading for justice, the cries for our enemies' defeat. The King has returned. The King who was driven from his land as an infant, who spent his first years as a refugee, who understands pain and suffering. But this King is not who we were looking for. This King brings justice, not over our enemies, but in the midst of our enemies. He brings peace, not in our land, but in our souls. He is the answer to the prayer we did not know we were praying. The King has returned. Long live the King. The King is dead. The hand that once held a branch now gripped a hammer. The King is dead. This King of Kings who embraced the very nature of a servant. This Prince of Peace, broken for us. This Commander of Angels, surrendered to a cross. This King joins us in our suffering, empathizes in our weakness, and he calls us to die with him, to lay down our lives, to live in surrender, that we may be fully alive. The King is dead. Long live the King. But this King is not gone forever. The story has not ended. There is a twist, a third act. there is a third day. And on that third day, the king will strip death of its power and extinguish the sting of Hades. This king is not defeated. This king is not destroyed. This king is the resurrection. He is the life. He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. The king has returned, leaving death behind, destroying hate, inviting us all to live in his victory, in his kingdom, in his peace. Yes, the king has risen.
It's just hearing that gets me excited, because knowing that Jesus has risen from the grave, he told them that he was going to. And when the women remembered that, they were like, oh, that's amazing. And they ran back and they told everyone how Jesus has risen from the grave. It's something that we should be telling the whole world. This is exciting news. And that we'll never be alone again. That with him, because of his death and resurrection, he is now with us all the time. When we make decisions, we can make the wrong decisions. It's going to happen. But the best part is we don't have to live with those decisions. We can go to God and we can say, Lord, help me. I've made some really bad choices and I need you to forgive me. Help me go back onto the right path. Help me make good decisions again. Wow. We couldn't do that before, but because of Jesus, we can. So be thinking about this, guys, when you're home during Easter, Resurrection Sunday, Victory Sunday. Be thinking about this. Not only did Jesus die for you, but he rose from the grave for you so that he could be with you all the time. Not just physically with his disciples, but with you now. His Spirit lives inside of you. You know, my dad might not be there for me all the time, but I know someone that will be there for me all the time, and that's Jesus. Jesus died for you and for me. And then he rose from the grave on Easter for you and for me. Thanks, guys. I love you. Happy Easter.